Carl Jung once wrote that the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. But in our time, this burden has evolved. Modern men carry not only the emotional legacy of their fathers, but also the unexamined myths of love, masculinity, and women. We are haunted by generations that never dared to question the illusions they inherited, particularly about the feminine. And Jung, with his unsettling clarity, pointed out a truth we still struggle to face. You don't fall in love with a woman as she is. You fall in love with the idea you've projected onto her. This video isn't a condemnation. It's not about blaming men or demonizing women. It's about waking up. Jung believed the unconscious plays a larger role in our lives than we care to admit, especially in our relationships. Most of what we call love is projection. The anima within you, your inner feminine, cast onto the women you meet. You don't see them clearly. You see a reflection of your unmet longings, your emotional gaps, and the pieces of your soul you've yet to reclaim. The anima is not your enemy. She is your inner mystery, your feeling nature, your creative depth. But if you don't make her conscious, she becomes your master. You'll find yourself falling not for women, but for the fantasy that your anima drapes over them. A woman you just met feels like a lost soulmate. You don't know her, but she gets you. You call it fate. Jung called it possession. You've mistaken the outer woman for your inner truth. And this is where the chaos begins. Every irrational infatuation, every painful heartbreak, every pattern of worship and devastation, these are the fingerprints of the unconscious anima. She seduces not through the woman's actions, but through your own blind hunger for completeness. The more unaware you are, the more you mistake projection for connection. You think you love her, but you're really seeking yourself through her. Jung warned, if you do not engage the anima, she becomes autonomous. She'll lead you toward women who seem magical, untouchable, irresistible, until they leave you gutted. You won't understand what happened, because it never had anything to do with them in the first place. They were mirrors, not muses. And until you see that, you'll confuse pain for passion, control for chemistry, and fantasy for love. Most men today were never taught how to integrate the feminine within. Raised by absent fathers or emotionally chaotic homes, they learn to seek approval, not sovereignty. They associate masculinity with performance and validation, especially from women. So when a seductive woman appears, he doesn't see the trap. He sees salvation. But what he calls love is often just a psychic agreement to abandon himself for her attention. These dynamics don't require malicious intent. Women don't need to consciously manipulate to wield power over unconscious men. The game plays itself. He sacrifices boundaries to earn her warmth. He edits his truth to maintain her interest. He grows more submissive, more compliant, more invisible. And ironically, the more he gives, the less she respects him. Because she cannot trust a man who cannot hold himself. Jung didn't blame women for this dance. He held men accountable. When you've not been initiated into your own depth, you become dependent on hers. She becomes a symbol of meaning, a stand-in for your soul. Her silence tortures you. Her attention intoxicates you. And when she disappears, your world collapses. Not because she was the one, but because she represented everything you were too afraid to become. Women, too, are governed by their unconscious. Jung called it the animus, the inner masculine within every woman. And when a woman has not integrated her animus, she becomes driven by domination, rigidity, and emotional withdrawal. The more disowned her feminine, the colder she becomes. She replaces receptivity with control. And when she meets a man ruled by his anima, they recognize each other's wounds, not their souls. This toxic bond feels electric. He is drawn to her fire. She is drawn to his need. But their chemistry is not love. It's trauma. He seeks the mother who abandoned him. She seeks the father who disappointed her. and they call their reenactment romance. They cling, they fight, they crave, they collapse, all while wondering why it never works. But they're not in a relationship, they're in a shared wound. Jung taught that what we love in others is often what we've disowned in ourselves. That woman you're obsessed with? She's likely carrying an aspect of your own soul you've never dared to claim. Her confidence mirrors your suppressed strength. Her mystery reflects your uncharted inner world. You think you love her, but what you really love is the way she makes you feel connected to something you've lost within. That's why heartbreak can feel like a spiritual death. It's not just her absence you mourn. It's the collapse of a fantasy where your own soul finally felt alive. She wasn't your savior. She was your symbol. And when the symbol vanishes, so does the illusion of wholeness. That's not fate. That's projection. And until you reclaim what you cast onto her, you will chase ghost after ghost, calling it love. Projection is always unconscious. It happens beneath awareness, and it feels transcendent. You believe you've found the one. You ignore red flags. You justify suffering. You call the chaos passion. But the truth is, you're not relating. You're compensating. You're assigning your unlived qualities to someone else, hoping they'll reflect it back to you. It's not love. It's an attempt to find yourself through another. The pattern repeats. You meet different women with the same emotional blueprint: distant, critical, erratic. One day warm, the next ice cold. She keeps you chasing. She withdraws when you show strength and clings when you set boundaries. You think it's fate. Jung would call it a complex, a psychic loop rooted in your early experience of the feminine. Perhaps it was a neglectful mother, an overbearing caregiver, or a first love who taught you that love equals pain. And so, calm women bore you. Peace feels unfamiliar. You crave intensity because your psyche has been trained to equate anxiety with affection. This isn't bad luck. This is unhealed trauma. You weren't supposed to stay stuck in these patterns. You were meant to see them, learn from them, and evolve. But if you never look inward, you'll keep dating the same wound in different bodies. The feminine you're drawn to is often your own soul's cry for help. She represents the power you've avoided, the feeling you've suppressed, the chaos you've internalized. You think she's unique, but your unconscious knew her before you did. The way she pulls you in, the way she hurts you, it's a performance you've rehearsed since childhood. And until you see it clearly, you will keep playing the same role. Jung said the psyche repeats what it does not repair. Your romantic bad luck isn't random. It's your unconscious begging for your attention. Until you ask, why am I attracted to this pain? What in me believes this is love? You will remain trapped in the loop. The moment you stop asking why this keeps happening to you and start asking what it's trying to teach you, that's when you take back your power. An anima-driven man is always chasing something. He's emotionally reactive, easily manipulated, spiritually hollow. He doesn't lead. He pleads. He doesn't choose. He adapts. He doesn't embody his truth. He bends it for validation. And women may enjoy his attention, but they cannot respect him. Because how can you respect a man who doesn't stand in his own center? The anima-driven man isn't weak. He's just unclaimed. He has fire in his chest, but no direction for the flame. So he lets women shape his worth. He thinks romance will heal him, but it never does. Because he's not chasing a woman, he's chasing transcendence. And no woman, no matter how beautiful or kind, can carry the weight of a man's unlived soul. Jung understood that without inner initiation, men seek initiation through women. But a woman cannot initiate you. She can only reflect whether you've done the work. If you place your worth in her gaze, you will always orbit her power. You'll confuse heat for love, approval for connection. You won't be her equal, you'll be her echo. And here's the truth that many modern men can't bear. Women don't desire you. They desire what you awaken in them. They don't want a man. They want the feeling of becoming more themselves in his presence. If your energy activates their unconscious fears or unmet needs, they may crave you. But that's not love. It's chemistry born of unfinished business. Most modern women, like men, are also disconnected from their essence. They've been taught to value control over intuition, independence over connection, dominance over depth. They are ruled not by a conscious self, but by an inflated animus, the masculine shadow within. This animus manifests as criticism, coldness, and chronic dissatisfaction. It is not evil. It is simply unintegrated. When a woman with an unhealed animus meets a man ruled by his anima, the attraction is explosive, but the bond is destructive. He sees her edge and calls it strength. She sees his softness and calls it safety. But they are reenacting myths, not building love. They don't complete each other. They consume each other. The only way out of this chaos is inward. She must integrate her animus. He must reclaim his anima. Only then can they meet as whole beings, not as broken halves trying to stitch themselves together. Otherwise, he will keep trying to save her, and she will keep resenting him for trying. You don't fall in love with her. You fall in love with what she makes you feel about yourself. Her mystery mirrors your disconnection. Her chaos reflects your lack of grounding. Her beauty calls to the part of you you've buried. And when she leaves, it feels like death, because she was never just a woman. She was your missing soul, borrowed and then lost. To integrate the anima is to stop chasing women and start facing yourself. It is to stop needing beauty to feel alive. To stop confusing silence with abandonment. To stop collapsing when affection is withdrawn. A sovereign man doesn't seek permission to exist. He brings his own value to the table. This kind of man terrifies the modern dating world. He doesn't orbit. He doesn't perform. He doesn't negotiate his soul for attention. Women either recoil or rise when faced with such presence. Because he is not there to impress them. He is there to awaken them. Jung's answer was never to reject women. It was to withdraw projection. See her clearly, not as a goddess or a demon, but as a person. Admire her beauty, but also see your own. Crave her depth, but explore yours first. She is not your path. She is the mirror of it. The real work is brutal. It's not poetic. It's not soft. It's sitting with your hunger without asking someone else to feed it. Holding your grief without demanding someone else fix it. It's becoming a man who no longer mistakes love for rescue and connection for control. Only then can you love freely. Only then can you offer something without needing something in return. Only then can you stop calling your projections her. Because you found in yourself what you kept seeking in others. And from that place, love becomes sacred. Not because it saves you, but because it no longer has to. Carl Jung didn't write dating advice. He wrote a map to the soul. His message was simple. If you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. That woman you keep chasing, she's not the answer. She's the lesson. And once you learn it, the chasing stops. You don't need another heartbreak. You don't need another goddess. You need a mirror. One that doesn't flatter, doesn't lie, and doesn't break. That mirror is your own gaze. And once you meet yourself there, really meet yourself, no one can steal your soul again.